Welcome back to Analytical Media. We are a consortium of therapists, college professors, and peer-reviewed researchers, all well published. Today's topic, we will be talking about sadness at the holidays, sadness at Christmas, Christmas Eve. This is Christmas Eve as I record this. On television, you have the holiday specials. You have the old television shows. You have the old cartoons, all for Christmas. It's a big deal. All of it's playing up Christmas. Everybody's telling you Merry Christmas. Nobody ever tells you Merry Monday. Something special about Christmas. If you're a child or close to the age of childhood, it's all good. You're filled with Christmas cheer, filled with the Christmas spirit. On the other hand, if you're an adult, if you have no children, if you have no partner in life, if your family is gone, or mostly all gone, then Christmas can be rather depressing. They call this the holiday blues, and it's a real thing. It's a real condition. Feeling sad at Christmas time is recognized by the mental health field. It is not true that suicide is higher during the holidays. It's believed to be true, but it isn't. There's no research that supports that. The holiday blues are, the condition is a short-term feeling of sadness, stress, or anxiety from Thanksgiving to New Year's. It's not full depression. It's not clinical depression, but it affects many people. And the cause is likely loneliness, missing loved ones because of grief or family conflicts. The rest of the world is happy, very happy. You see it, lights everywhere. Drive down the street, lights all over the neighborhood, lights in the main streets in town, Christmas specials on television. And there's a great deal of sadness and stress. And the stress can come from just shopping, all the shopping you have to do. Can come from traveling. The traveling that you feel compelled to do can come from worrying about money, and oftentimes does. Worrying that you haven't spent enough on people you love, or knowing that no one will be spending anything on you. That can make you feel depressed. And the money that you're spending, it can cause a great deal of stress because you need to spend that money. You feel like you need to spend it. You want to spend more. But you're automatically worried that you're not going to pay this, that you may not be able to pay the money back. You don't know how you're going to pay it back. You're anticipating a great deal of trouble. But mostly the depression and anxiety around Christmas. And there are lots of people, adults, who can't wait for Christmas to be over. If they could vote on getting rid of Christmas, they would, because it makes them feel very bad, inadequate. They don't have what they see on television. They don't have those big families, the big dinners, everyone around a table, everybody decorating, laughing, joking. They don't have that. And mostly then, the depression comes from unrealistic expectations. In the movies, nothing's unrealistic. Those expectations happen every time. But in real life, things don't always have happy endings. In fact, things rarely have happy endings. Television is not real life. It's not even close. It's fictional. And the Christmas you know is an illusion. It's absolutely a myth. The Christmas you know is based on a myth. A jolly fat guy that comes down your chimney. A myth based on someone fitting into your fireplace. That's what the myth is based on. And the truth is, most homes don't have fireplaces. And none, today or ever, had a flue in that chimney or the firebox big enough for someone to move through, not even a small child. And yet the myth persists. It doesn't fit, but it's okay because you can believe in something else besides what's in your house. This myth is cultural. It perpetuates throughout the culture, and it's an illusion, it's a myth, and it's done for the good of the child. And when you were a child, Christmas was magical. It wasn't real. That's why it was magical. You have a fat, jolly guy bringing you things you want, things you dreamed about, and all you have to do, or ever had to do, was be a good little boy or girl. There were magic-colored lights everywhere. They took a tree from outside and put it in your living room. Sometimes on that tree was a bird's nest or even a squirrel. Everybody was happy around you. As a kid, you didn't have to go to school. Christmas was so important they canceled school for a couple of weeks. There were parties at school about Christmas. You made things in school. Gifts to give your mother. Cut out cards for people out of colored paper. There were television specials about Christmas. And if you came from a more well-to-do family, you got lots of good stuff for Christmas. Games to play with, video games, PlayStations, board games. And your parents even had time to play with you on these new board games you got. It was absolutely magical. You may have gotten gifts from your aunt or your grandmother or your uncle or your cousins or the next door neighbor. I mean, nobody wanted to go to sleep. Lots of food to eat, all you could eat. Now that's most people. Of course, the very poor never did have a Christmas like that, but they still had a TV and they could see one being celebrated on television or at the movies. The day after Christmas, it was still a lot of fun because you always had things to play with, but you didn't have the gifts to open like you did on Christmas Day. And then somewhere, maybe that evening, the day after, or maybe a couple of days after, people became depressed. Children became depressed because they thought about going back to school, and the child knew that there would be no more Christmas for a whole year in 10 days or 14 days, but he tried not to think about it. So even for those kids, Christmas was a little depressing once it was over. I mean, the lights were coming down, the trees were coming down. There's nothing to look forward to at school except Valentine's Day. And now as an adult, it's like Christmas is totally over. You've heard people say Christmas is for kids. You're not a kid anymore. And so it can be very depressing. And you feel like you shouldn't participate. You can't participate because you're not a child. You don't believe in those things. You don't believe in the illusion. If you have children or grandchildren, you can get into it because you're sharing their world. You're sharing their excitement. But when you don't have that, you don't have children, grandchildren, it can be depressing because it's over. It'll never happen again. What you had will never be there again. But what you had wasn't real. Parts of it had real people in it, but there was never a flying fat guy in a red suit. It was an illusion. And for Christmas, unless you buy yourself something, for lots of people, you're getting nothing. You might have been a very good adult boy or girl, but nobody's there to buy you a gift, and that can be depressing. But mostly it's because it's over, and it can be very depressing that it's over. And if you are lucky enough to have children or grandchildren, you can partake in their happiness and joy. You can become a part of that world, that crazy world. And you see all the happiness they have and all the stuff they believe in. You can't believe in it because you know it's not real. And someday they will be adults too and have only these memories to have. And you can partake, but there probably will be lots of sadness and crying for you, or fighting back tears when you think about the fact that your mother's long gone, your father and brothers too, and all the fun you have had at Christmas, that's 2-week period, that 3-week period, it was all unreal. It was all magic. It wasn't real magic, because as we know, there is no real magic. I mean, we watch magicians, we know they're not real. It's all an illusion. We see with a magician, we see a lion disappear. Well, we know that lion didn't really disappear. It's an illusion. We know that when we watch a magician cut a woman in half with a saw, we know that didn't happen. And when we see a magician in a water tank for 5-7 minutes in a box all chained up, we know he's not in there. And 7 or 8 minutes later, he comes walking bone dry to the stage from the audience. We know it's a trick. We know that Christmas is an illusion too. But it doesn't mean that we don't like partaking in it. It's a myth. You know, no girl got cut in half. You know, no lion was transported from the left part of the stage to the right part of the stage. It's all just a trick. It was an illusion. But you still paid money to see that magician, or you still watch him on television, even though you know it's not real. You partake in magic, the illusion, even though you know perfectly well it's not real. You do it. You enjoy it. And I am telling you, you can partake in the illusion of Christmas, the myth, knowing full well what it is. Now, you can wake up in the morning and have no one to share Christmas breakfast with. And as I've already said, your parents are long gone. You may have no brothers or sisters, no family at all. You wake up in that morning, you'll know there will be no big Christmas tree because you didn't put one up. There will be no presents under that tree because you didn't buy yourself any. And it could well be that if you don't look in the mirror and say Merry Christmas, no one will be saying Merry Christmas to you. Now that sounds depressing, but the truth is, it isn't. And that has very little to do with Christmas. The Christmas that you're missing, it was never real. It was always just an illusion. It was a myth. Now you may be saying, well, yeah, it's not a big deal. But for a lot of you, when you found out it was a myth, you got upset with your parents for lying to you. In fact, you got depressed with our culture altogether because they lied to you. And you were lied to, there's no doubt about it. But you were lied to perpetuate the myth, which they thought was a really good thing. The myth was, it wasn't real, it was never real. Magic isn't real. But you paid good money to see a magician in Las Vegas, or you always watch them when they're on television, even though you know it's not real. But still, you felt betrayed by your parents for lying to you, telling you something, perpetuating it, going out of their way to let you know, or try to convince you that the fat guy in a red suit with the reindeer, he's landing on your roof and coming down your fireplace chimney. But you can buy it if they did it on the magic show. You'd buy it. You'd say, okay, that's cool. I know it's cool because of what I just saw and I participated in. I thought about it, tried to figure it out. That's cool. But I know it wasn't real magic. I know perfectly well the magician did not do anything. Magician, he's not really a magician. He's a performer. I know some of you are going to say, well, Christmas is about the birth of Jesus Christ. Now, one thing we'd say for sure is that the best biblical scholars in the world agree that Jesus Christ was not born the 25th of December, 24th, 23rd, not in December at all, but sometime in the fall, early fall, late summer, early fall. Nothing to indicate it was the 25th. In fact, was actually the old heathen holidays that involved the Christmas tree in the 25th of December, which is around the winter solstice. And they brought, when Christ was born, gifts were brought to him. Gifts weren't brought to children. It's not like all the little kids got gifts because Christ was born. Not when he was born. not 100 years later, 200, 300, 400. This isn't about that. We were supposed to be celebrating Christ's birth. Now, certainly in the last few hundred years, gifts were given to children and from adults to one another. Christmas became something different. It wasn't a celebration of the birth of Christ. Not that it should not be celebrated. It should be. But let's not BS ourselves in suggesting that that's what buying all those gifts for your kids is about, that somehow that celebrates Christ. What is important about the Christmas period of time is that it's about peace, it's about love, it's about sharing, it's about calmness. And there is something magical about it, but remember, magic is not real. But we should not dismiss it just because we know it's not real. There is a magical time. People are wishing you Merry Christmas. They are not wishing you Merry Monday. Just a one time. People want you to be happy. They want you to celebrate, have things, eat well, have parties, go to parties, love your children. So your happiness was a function of that whole period of time. It was a function of the bright lights, the colored lights. It was a function of people being happy, singing special songs, getting gifts, being happy, the excitement. Now, if you found out about the myth when you were 10, it didn't stop you from being happy when you were 11 on Christmas, or 12, or 13, or 14. But now, you're an adult, and you know all about it. You know all about paying for the gifts you buy people. You know all about somebody buys you a gift, you got to buy them a gift. There's a lot of anxiety comes from that, a lot of cost. But you were happy when you were 13, 14. You were happy at 9. You were happy at 10. You found out about Santa Claus. Didn't really, if you were angry or upset, it was probably at your parents. But you still enjoyed Christmas. It certainly wasn't a depressing time for you, as it might be when you become an adult. And the worst part is, people think it's over and done with. They say Christmas is for children. You're not a child. You have no children. You may not have any family at all. But that doesn't mean that you can't partake in the magic. You can. Magic is never real, right? It's an illusion. So magicians call themselves illusionists. You can believe in illusions. You can partake. You know it's a myth, but it's pleasant to think about. It's pleasant, period, on earth. At least in Western countries, it's a good time to walk down the street, to see the happiness, to see people believing in a myth, adults believing in a myth. And there is something special, very special about that myth. We know it doesn't have anything to do with Christ. I mean, not directly. We're not worshiping Christ. We're not celebrating his birthday because he was born. It'd be more around Halloween than it would be December 25th. We're not doing that, but we're celebrating something good, something special, something Christian-like, and that's the love and the giving and the forgiving and the real teachings of Jesus Christ. Now, I have to add here, if I may pontificate for a moment, and just a moment, I don't agree with most modern Christians, most well-known Christians, the leaders, because they don't express the meaning, the teaching, the direction of Jesus Christ. They've perverted it, they've twisted it, they've changed it. They talk about hatred, talk about this and that and the bad stuff, and people are bad and this and that, or they talk about it's okay to sin all you want because Christ died for your sins. Get it? You can do whatever you want now because he died for your sins. You're still going to heaven. And Jesus Christ ever said anything like that. The only thing I would beg you to do is to read the Bible for yourself. Don't let anyone tell you what God meant, what Jesus Christ said. Don't let anybody tell you that. You're smart enough to figure it out on your own, because there are plenty of people out there who will lie to you and mislead you. And don't believe you're a good Christian because you go to church on Christmas Day or Christmas Eve. There's much more to being a good Christian than that. And remember one thing, it's perfectly clear in the Bible. When Christ was alive, they asked him, think about this for a moment. We're not talking about this so much religiously as we were talking about this philosophically. They said to Christ, how will you know a Christian, a follower of his? And he said, you will know them by their deeds. You'll know them by what they do. Think about that. Because you can think about it. You're smart enough to do it. Don't let somebody who's looking to live off of you through high donations that they tell you got to give, and you can give, and they're trying. I mean, I don't get everybody. Maybe you don't give them any money, but they get plenty from other people. That's their job. They're living well. And the ministers that don't have much, they're much more likely to be telling you the truth than the minister who flies around in his private jet, has his own television network. Come on, cut me a break. Grow up. We are not celebrating Christ in modern Christian tradition, buying gifts for the kid next door or for your dog even, and lots of people do buy their pets Christmas gifts. Doing that has nothing to do with the birth of Christ or promoting Christianity. However, there is something special and Christ-like about the generosity, the love, the forgiveness, the kindness, the compassion, the sympathy, that the desire to make people happy at Christmas time, to relieve human suffering. There's something about that is quite Christ-like. And I think we can take that in. However, we can't for a moment think that we are celebrating the birth of Christ in the wrong month. You have adult programming that has to do with Christmas, adult shows, you have songs, performances, and all the kids stuff about Santa Claus and Frosty. You've got all that too. You've got all the TV shows you used to watch back then. You have news shows. You have all the Hallmark stuff, all those magical Christmas shows. All the same, something happens around Christmas time. The man or woman, they leave the big bad city, usually New York City, and then they go someplace, usually someplace in New England where you're bound to have some snow. And then they meet somebody there, and it might be a man, and he meets a woman who has a little son who she's raising on her own, and they interact a little bit, and boom, they get married by the end of Christmas. He never goes back to New York, or she never goes back to New York. It could be her. She comes and she meets this guy, and he's got a little kid or a little girl, and she needs a mother. She needs a woman in her life. Boom, they fall instantly in love. Not at first, there's a little trauma. It's a little bit problematic, but by the time it's over, an hour and a half later, they're in love. Now, it's hokey, and it's a terrible thing. However, this is not good programming. However, it's Christmassy. That's why they have Christmas in July, and it's part of Christmas. It's part of the illusion. It's part of the myth. All this goodness that comes about, all based on love. And should you watch this stuff? Yes. If you watch a magician and you know that's 100% not real, and it is, then partake in the Christmas myth. No, your life will never be like the Hallmark Channel. It doesn't work that way. And Christmas is one day a year, and the other 364 are not like Christmas. Think about it. It's a myth. It's a place in your mind. It's an illusion. In a better world, everything would work out the way it does on the Hallmark Channel. But it's not that type of world. People would just as soon stab you in the back, steal all your money. It's their real goals. But it's nice to think about a better place, better people, that the world does work out well. There is some divine force that finds the mother without a husband trying to raise a son. She finds the guy from New York City. Sometimes it's Chicago. You can't always pick on New York City, but it's usually New York City. It's a hustle bustle. It's hectic. It's terrible. He's coming to this little Connecticut town to close the main factory and put everybody on welfare. It'd be nice if it wasn't that way. It'd be really nice if we could believe that experience what happens to people when they live in a Hallmark world, a fictitious world. But that's the same world that we enjoy partaking in for magic shows, magicians. We know it's not real, but we still enjoy watching it. We still enjoy seeing the woman cut in half, seeing the lion disappear. It still impresses our senses. And see Christmas the same way. See it as impressive. Enjoy the colored lights. Enjoy the television shows. People with 8 kids and families of 200 should not be enjoying Christmas more than you. You're all alone? Well, the myth belongs to everyone. That illusion belongs to everyone. And there's something good about it, as I've tried to point out. Don't shut yourself off from the happiness that can come from this myth. When you say to yourself, wow, it'd be great if that was true. It'd be great if this was true. It'd be great if everything happened the way it did in a Hallmark movie. But at least you can see it happen that way in this realm, in this myth, in this illusion. Partake. Listen to the specials. Listen to the music. Put up the Christmas lights. Put up the Christmas tree. I know nobody's going to see it but you. But you're participating. You're one of the people that is helping the myth go on. You're perpetuating it. You're participating in it. And it's important. And most of all, that'll be the end of your holiday blues. In fact, you're hurting yourself by not putting up that Christmas tree, not putting up the decorations that you used to put up. At least put up what you can. If you're not physically capable, don't do it. But you're there. You're enjoying it. Nobody else is going to see it, but nobody else has to see it. It's for you. That special, that Frosty the Snowman special on television, it's meant for you just as much as the 7-year-old. Literally and honestly, participate. You can afford to send out Christmas cards, send them out. If you can't afford it, forget it. Maybe send them out a Christmas email. We are saying, yes, it is an illusion. It is a myth, a modern myth. But so is magic and things like magic. Mythology, all of it's not real. Doesn't mean that they don't still study it in school, still talk about it, analyze it. And it doesn't mean that you don't benefit from it because you read it or you study it. You do benefit from it. You'll benefit from participating in the Christmas myth. And it belongs to you as much as a child. This is Analytical Media. We hope we've done something to help you. If we have, share it, like it, subscribe to the channel. It'll help us send this out to more people. Hopefully today's message did help people. But recognize, if it helped you, there are a lot of people that didn't get to see this, and it would have helped them too. And the only way they'll ever get to see it is if you help with the algorithm by sharing it, liking it, subscribing to the channel. All those things will get this out to more people. Okay, from us at Analytical Media, we hope you have a Merry Christmas. We hope you have a Merry Monday, a Merry Tuesday, a Merry Wednesday. We wish you the best is what we're saying. Okay, we'll see you in the next one. Take care.